You can make amazing progress and have great upper body definition, but if you have skinny, small legs, it will ruin your well-rounded physique. Leg development is important, but developing well-defined legs isn't just about lifting heavy. There are 3 tips you need to implement if you want bigger quads. In this video, we are going to talk about what they are and how to integrate them into your training routine. Welcome back to another video. I'm Brandon Martinez. I'm currently getting my doctorate in physical therapy. And like I just mentioned, we're going to be going over 3 tips that you need to integrate if you want bigger, well-defined quads. So without wasting any more time, let's jump into tip number 1, which is to optimize your training volume. The ideal volume for quad growth is variable from person to person, and it relies a lot on your training experience, your recovery time, your overall training program, and many other things. However, a general guideline to optimize your quad growth is to aim for 10 to 20 weekly sets spread out among various exercises. As I'm sure you all know, there are 2 main categories of exercises, and you have compound exercises and isolation exercises, and both of them are essential if you want growth in any muscle. Now let's do a quick review just in case you may not be familiar with these 2 concepts. So you have compound exercise, and that's when multiple muscle groups are working during an exercise. So an example of this is squats and also lunges. And then alternatively, we have isolation exercises, which is when you're performing an exercise and only one muscle group is working. So an example of this would be leg extensions. Now that we know the basics, we want to allocate at least 6 sets per week for compound exercises, and this should make the foundation of your quad training. And then for isolation exercises, we're going to aim for 6 to 10 sets per week, and this is where we're going to specifically target the quads and really focus on muscle growth. Now remember, the key is not how many sets you're performing, but the quality of each set that you do. It's important to make sure that you're lifting with proper form, that you're actively engaging the muscle throughout the entire exercise, and that you continue to progress and challenge yourself as the weeks go on. It's important to listen to your body and vary the volume depending on your recovery and your progress. Additionally, consider alternating between phases of higher volume and lower volume, and this can help prevent plateaus and keep your muscles responsive to growth stimuli. That's going to wrap up tip number 1, so let's jump into the second tip, which is going to be varying your foot position. Varying your foot position not only targets different muscle groups, but it's going to promote overall muscle development, and it's also going to improve your functional strength. When you vary your foot position, you alter the biomechanics of the exercise, and this will shift the load distribution across different muscles. For instance, when you're performing leg press, if you adjust your foot width and the angle, you can emphasize various parts of the quads, hamstrings, and glutes. So we're going to focus on the leg press machine just because it's very easy to visualize. So if you have a higher foot placement, you're going to really be biasing your glutes and your hamstrings. If you have a narrow foot position, it's going to bias the outer quads, whereas if you have a wider foot position, it'll bias the inner quads. And by switching your foot placement regularly, you're going to challenge your muscles from different angles, and once again, this will help prevent plateauing and continue to lead to overall muscle growth. Additionally, altering your foot placement not only helps with muscle growth, but it's also great for injury prevention and just joint health in general. Our bodies are not fully symmetrical, and commonly, some muscles tend to be stronger than others, and this can make us more susceptible to injuries down the line. When you change your foot stance, you reduce the risk of overloading a single muscle group or joint, along with addressing any potential imbalances that could lead to injuries in the future. Changes in foot position also promotes overall joint mobility, as it encourages flexibility and just range of motion in general. Because of these reasons, whatever exercise you're doing, it's important to vary your leg position to reap the most benefits. Now let's jump into the third and final tip, which is to optimize your time under tension. Now, time under tension is a concept I've covered in many videos, and because of that, I think you get the point of how important it is, but it's essential for muscle growth. Time under tension refers to how long a muscle is actively engaged during an exercise. And there are 3 categories for time under tension that we're going to discuss that vary depending on what your goals are at the gym. So there's low time under tension, which is a range of 0 to 20 seconds, and this is suitable for powerlifting and also explosive training, so like plyometrics. Then we have moderate time under tension, which is that 20 to 40 second range, and this is optimal for muscle hypertrophy or muscle growth. Then lastly, we have high time under tension, which is 40 seconds or longer, and this is mostly going to be for endurance training activities, and this is going to increase the metabolic stress on the muscles. By controlling and prolonging time under tension, you create a greater stimulus for muscle growth and adaptation to take place. This principle is especially important for muscle hypertrophy, since longer periods of tension will induce microtrauma in the muscle fibers, which ultimately lead to growth. Now, there are many techniques that you can do to vary your time under tension, such as prolonged eccentric contractions, isometric contractions, and many other things. But ultimately, you need to optimize this principle if you want to see any quad growth or muscle growth in general. To summarize, to accelerate our quad growth, we want to make sure that we are optimizing our training volume. We want to vary our foot position on many different exercises, and we need to make sure that we achieve the appropriate time under tension depending on our goals at the gym. And that's all I got for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. Don't forget to hit push notifications to make sure you never miss an upload. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video.